I think to me, the Backstreet Boys are the best. They were the first. And I think Lou Pearlman did it right when he did it. And he could have just stayed with them and really, you know, they could have taken some dance lessons, sure.
Why not? But they were busy. They were busy
touring.
touring.
They had the vocals. They had the vocals. And to me, that's, you know, the most important ingredient for a great pop star. And all of the Backstreet Boys could sing.
Can still sing.
Can still sing.
As we
the
said,
harmonies,
I went to the
don't even get me
concert.
started on the fact that there's only like 2 people in NSYNC that can sing.
Yeah,
Every
they're
single
all
member
Posh
of the
Spice.
Backstreet Boys.
That's crazy that only 2 people sang and they're better than Backstreet Boys.
They did have No Strings Attached was after Lou Pearlman.
Yeah, but then that's it.
Which is one of their biggest albums. And then everyone was like, we don't need to do this forever because a boy band should only be 3 years long.
I will
Shouldn't be
say
a
that.
lifetime career.
That's a really good point.
I will-
actually.
I
I
do-
don't think
well,
that boy
actually-
bands should go on for decades
Thank
and
you.
decades and decades.
Why?
I
Because
think-
you don't believe in friendship?
Oh,
I don't believe in friendship.
You
I'm
guys
sitting here on the
heard
show
it.
fighting with your ass today.
You guys heard it here. Courtney does not believe in friendship.
He does not believe in
Friendship is my
friendship.
brand.
Wait,
Alyssa.
I do have to give you guys this. Just Got Paid is a pretty cool song. I
Yeah.
have to give you that. I think it's a fun, look, it's a fun song. And anytime, and I do remember the first job I ever had, whenever I would get my paycheck, I would play that song.
You know
I thought
what?
it was cool.
Okay, so we know, obviously, Backstreet Boys came first.
Yes, thank you, Lou.
Yeah, thank
What
you,
came
Lou.
first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, Backstreet Boys or the egg?
Okay.
Well, Lou
Backstreet
Pearlman came
Boys.
first.
Lou Pearlman.
Yeah.
Lou Pearlman came first.
You know, we gotta shout him out. He brought these boys together. Now, Backstreet Boys is made. There's some family ties going
Yep.
on. We've got Kevin and Brian are cousins.
Yeah, they are. Lou basically was just like renting out airplanes to people. And then he realized, like, when he saw the success of boy bands, like, wait a minute, I got to do that. And he basically just orchestrated it from scratch. Like, he did a little talent show and like started picking people. And yeah, they knew each other. They were cousins. So it was really all about family, you know? That's
Because
what
I
Backstreet
do
Boys
think,
are
yeah,
about.
because Kevin was the last member to be added.
Mhm.
And I love that because I do love family. I love nepotism. And I think but it's like nepotism in the right
Y'all.
way. It's nepotism done right. Okay,
Yeah,
Brian said, how about my cousin? And sure, Kevin was a little bit older, but they
Could
gave
he
him a
sing?
chance.
Could he sing?
Yes, he could sing.
He could sing. So
all of the Backstreet Boys could
Questionable.
sing. All of the Backstreet Boys could sing.
can still
Oh
sing.
my
Can
God.
still sing.
As we
The
said, I went
harmonies-
to the
don't even get me
concert.
started on the fact that there's only like 2 people in NSYNC that can sing.
Yeah,
Every
they're
single
all Posh
member of the
Spice.
Backstreet Boys.
That's crazy that only 2 people sang and they're better than Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy,
is
isn't it?
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Y'all should tell us how crazy that is in the comments that only 2 people in NSYNC sang and they sing better than Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I do
Okay, so then
also-
why were they were supposed to be in sync, but in fact they were just 2 people. So that's not really in sync.
They're in sync because they could
I just
sing
feel like
and dance. Which one couldn't the Backstreet Boys do?
they could do both.
What do we think makes an iconic boy band?
Easy.
Oh,
Okay,
what
yeah,
are the
let's hear it.
ingredients?
When it comes to the perfect boy band formulation, you need vocal ability, you need fashion, you need to be able to dance, you need to be able to create impact within pop culture with a little bit of drama, maybe a little bit of sex appeal.
You just described the Backstreet Boys.
I did?
No,
Where's
I
their
don't
sex
think so.
appeal?
No, I don't think so.
I said I would look at their picture every night.
Let's talk about them live, okay? Because NSYNC, I feel like, put on they were better dancers. That's just, you have to
Absolutely.
say that.
Yeah.
And I think that when you look at them live, they're putting on a show.
Yes,
Their
ma'am.
cool personality is, when you look at Backstreet Boys, why are they all nervous? You literally look at footage back in the day, they're like stressed.
It's
They're
actually called
shy.
being humble.
Yeah, they're cute.
It's actually called being
Yeah,
humble
they're
and
cute
shy,
boys.
which
No.
is a beautiful attribute that I'm looking for in my potential future husband.
Yeah,
If
they're like
stress
look,
equals
I am
being
looking
humble,
for
I'm humble all the time.
humility.
You know what I mean? They're not
I'm humble as
too-
hell.
And
They're
that
not-
makes them hotter because they're like, I don't know, I'm so hot
I'm
and
cute
cool.
like this.
Yeah. It's like, do you would you rather have your guy be like a narcissist and be like, No.
Yes.
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 It was
And
the
and
90s.
want
What are
the
we
hits to hit.
doing?
Yep.
Then guess what? They're going to be mean to you.
Sure did.
I want to talk really quick about the Everybody music video for Backstreet Boys.
That's a hit.
I know you might. Okay, what?
That's my favorite Backstreet
Thank
Boys
you.
music video.
And that
actually.
music video is amazing. It combines like Thriller and Rocky Horror Picture Show, which are 2 of my favorite
that
things of
movie,
all time. And Backstreet Boys. And that wasn't necessarily like the most like popular thing, like Rocky Horror Picture Show. But like Backstreet Boys was so cool and edgy that they did that. And they weren't afraid of like, oh, is this not cool because it's like queer or whatever? But they didn't care. They did that. And it's an amazing music video. And I don't think NSYNC has something like that. Sure, maybe they have like good ones, but did they really push the envelope the way the Backstreet Boys did? I don't know.
I would say NSYNC had the largest album first week with 2.4 million records sold that week, which was a record until Adele in 2015. Like,
Never
that's
heard of her.
crazy.
Longevity,
Do you know
talent,
Well,
quality.
How
Adele-
crazy it is
the
for
band
someone
isn't
to
together
buy
anymore.
that much in 1
It
week.
took a long
That's
time for the record to be
Obviously,
but you
broken.
guys-
think
I'm
about
sorry.
what Adele has in common with Backstreet Boys. Both great singers.
You know what? Also, you can have hits, okay? You can be popular when somebody like Lou is marketing you and paying the right people. But guess what? They're not a band anymore without Lou. And Backstreet Boys continues to travel
That's
and work
right.
together as a family.
Well, actually, sorry. They did have No Strings Attached was after Lou Pearlman.
Yeah, but then that's it.
When
That's
I
what-
was a little girl and the Backstreet Boys came out and I saw what they were doing.
This is Alyssa's go-to move, by the way. This is Alyssa's
When I was a
absolute
little
go-to
girl.
move to say when I was a little
Listen,
girl.
when I was a little girl
Uh-huh.
and I saw the Backstreet Boys and they were singing, and it really sounded like, to be honest, angels.
yeah.
And I was like, this is
Backstreet
beautiful.
Angels.
This is not only is this hot and steamy, but it's beautiful. And then I remember hearing about NSYNC and I said, huh? Now what in the heck? They're copycats.
Copycat.
And I
well,
felt
let's get
that
back to
as a
that.
little
No,
girl.
no, no.
I felt that as a little girl. I felt that.
Okay.
Copycats.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up because
Get her
let's go
ass.
back
Get
to
her ass,
Pearl.
Monica.
He created Backstreet Boys, had a couple years, and then he went, "Eey, why is this feeling so vanilla, so
What?
suburban? I need to create something that actually resonates with real people." He went behind Backstreet Boys' back, created NSYNC, and created like competition between competition between the two of them, which is
Yeah.
psychotic. Lou Pearlman psychotic
I mean,
and
he was a
problematic.
psycho. Yeah.
But NSYNC had more popularity in less
Yes.
time. Like Backstreet Boys wouldn't ever.
But they wouldn't exist if
retire.
it wasn't for the Backstreet
but-
Boys.
And the
but
Backstreet Boys were
we
cute.
want
They
the
were
remake.
a great boy
Yeah.
band, but
Cute.
NSYNC had the personality, the moves,
Yep.
and the hits. It's
Yep.
just very simple.
No,
Backstreet Boys had a little bit,
Their
and
Backstreet
NSYNC
Boys
had it all.
Backstreet Boys' first song, "As Long as You Love Me," cannot even
Cute.
It's
come
a church
close.
hymn.
It's
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 literally
not
a church
hymn. It
hymn.
can't even come close to NSYNC. What? I wanted that. What?
That's a hit.
I wanted that
The way Justin was twirling around
Oh,
them old Navy
gosh.
track pants. Are you serious?
Okay,
Okay,
but
serious.
you know,
They were
as
on a whole
long as you
different
love me,
planet.
Backstreet Boys, "As Long as You Love Me" is essentially a song about, I don't care. You could be a criminal. You could be the scum of the earth. And as long as you love me, I'll love you forever.
That's
That's
and
about
that
crazy.
is about God.
That's
But guys,
crazy.
you guys, let's break it down section by section. We're getting
Okay.
ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
Sorry.
Let's just
We're sprinting for the finish
It all
line.
starts, it all starts in the 90s. Lou Pearlman is this guy who creates this group. He's like, one's not enough, gotta have two. So he puts them against each other. However, the Backstreet Boys, he made them audition. Like they all
Yeah.
had good voices. The second group that he made, the one that came second, that was not as good, NSYNC,
Second place.
he sort of was just like pulling people like, okay, you know,
This guy's
Justin's
got
already
curly
on
hair.
this. Yeah, we
Oh,
need a
sure,
curly hair
curly
guy.
hair.
So sorry,
'Cause-
fact check on that. NSYNC, they were actually all friends, whereas Backstreet Boy was like some kind of like chemistry creation he was
yeah,
trying
but
to
they
do.
but
there was
cut to now,
family.
they're all still friends. And guess who's the only person that did well? Justin Timberlake. And Lance, you're doing great, but not like Justin Timberlake.
I think Lance has an incredible career.
Like, where's
Backstreet
the
Boys, no,
Backstreet
Backstreet.
Boys?
Here's the thing:
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys is still together and performing, and they love each other and they're loyal. NSYNC can't say the same.
Why
Well, they
can't-
have to still keep
yeah.
performing because we don't remember them as well.
And
So
why
they have
can't
to stay in
we
the
name a
zeitgeist.
singer?
What?
Still
We
performing
cannot
because
name
people
a
still wanna
single
buy
Backstreet
tickets.
Boy. Why is that?
What
Why
are
do
you
we know
talking
all
about? Yes, we
the
can.
That's a
Brian
really
Littrell.
good point.
Hello.
You don't know who
Brian
Nick
Littrell,
Carter is?
not Nick Carter. Brian Littrell. Hello.
I didn't even
Brian
know Brian had
Littrell
a
had
last
heart
name, girl.
surgery.
Who?
He
He did?
not only was an amazing singer, but he survived. He's a
Oh.
survivor, and
Also,
as a
people
survivor,
are going-
myself-
That's so
People are
awesome.
not going, Chris Kirkpatrick. Nobody
Yeah.
says that.
Nobody cares.
I mean,
about,
I care about it because, you know, I dress up.
They're
as a-
so iconic that they were shaded by Eminem. Chris Kirkpatrick, you get your ass kicked? Are you kidding me?
Sorry,
we weren't saying
I
that
don't-
about Brian.
I'm
And
sorry.
Eminem wasn't saying that about Brian.
Justin Timberlake tried
An
to
icon and a legend.
destroy Britney Spears' career.
Go watch,
Unsuccessful.
go watch
Also
that episode.
did ruin Janet Jackson's career.
Yep.
And Justin Timberlake got to fly high while Janet Jackson. So, but that's who you love? Great.
Janet Jackson on tour right now, girl. What you talking about?
Yeah.
Well,
But
he tried
he had a
to.
moment
He tried
where he
to
took her down.
fumble her, but she had to claw her way back to the top, just like Brian Littrell and his heart surgery.
Well, I guess
I'm
where,
feeling dark
I
on
guess
this
where are they
episode.
now? Where are they now?
Where
Let's
are
talk
they
about
now?
that.
Where are they now? Still performing.
Backstreet Boys still performing.
Yeah. I saw them
Jade
not too
saw them
long
in
ago,
concert.
and it was amazing.
I also saw them in
Changed your
concert
life.
about 2 years ago.
And did
They
you
were
love it?
great. The microphones
Yeah.
were on.
Yeah. Nick
Thank
can sing.
you.
Nick he had a glove on, maybe, or maybe
He
AJ
can
had a glove
dance. He can
on.
like really
Yeah,
move his
maybe.
hips. I was
Yeah.
like,
Glove
whoa.
on.
It was
Yeah.
cute.
And AJ's wearing a glove because that's what he wants to do.
He's edgy.
I don't know about that.
You know what? AJ
But NSYNC
made eyebrows hot. Like nobody really talked about eyebrows
and he had
on men.
piercings.
That's cool.
Okay.
I remember as a young Christian girl, I saw
no.
these piercings, and I thought to
No.
myself,
I think some of them even wore nail polish.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Groundbreaking.
That's interesting.
In the
'cause I feel
90s it was.
NSYNC had way more piercings, way more tattoos per
Okay,
capita.
Christina
And
Aguilera.
also where they are now. Sorry, Justin Timberlake, iconic.
He came out with an album,
Nobody likes him
actor.
anymore.
and that's
Singer.
fine. We liked him. At
Nobody
one
likes
point.
him.
Lance Bass had his own
Lance
show.
is a star. Lance
Bass
is a
has his
star.
own show. He also fake appeared on The Circle on Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
JC
amazing.
Chazé.
He just released
And
something.
I do want to put it on the record that
Chris Kirkpatrick. Just
Yeah.
He
chilling.
was on Celebrity Big
I
Brother.
Finally
didn't
got
tell
his
you guys-
braces off.
He's
Joey
my guy.
Fatone, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Joey
was
Fatone.
in My Big Fat Greek
My Big
Wedding.
Fat
I
Greek
didn't really say this, but the crush that I had in NSYNC, it was Lance. I was
Yeah,
obsessed with
that makes
Lance.
sense to me.
Yeah, that
That's
makes sense.
okay.
I was gonna say, that
He
makes
is
sense.
my
Totally
type.
makes sense to me.
And that is my type. Gay man.
I did like Justin.
I know.
Justin was kind of like my guy.
I just had
and
it
I
for
feel
Nick.
weird.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought he was. I like
Who?
any blonde, like boys that look like women. Really, was my thing.
For me, it was Howie and Lance.
Mine was AJ or Nick. Honestly, they're still working. First of all, they're still touring together. They're still best friends. Okay.
Yeah.
They're still wholesome. They're still hot. Nick Carter was on Dancing with the Stars, and he can really move those hips. I'm just gonna keep saying it.
Oh.
And Brian, I know we talked about this, but he has, talks about his like issues with his heart problem and vocal
I can
cord
relate.
problems. And he also pursued a career as a solo in Christian music. God bless him.
Hallelujah.
My friends and I kind of got tickets, being like, "This will be funny," but
Wait,
then
do you see them in Vegas?
no, I saw them here in LA.
Oh my god.
It was outside. I want to say Forum, but maybe not.
Okay.
But it was like, it was so fun. Like it was such a little throwback. We all wore like our little bucket hats and pastel nail
Aw.
polish.
Fun.
And I thought like,
Love
oh,
that.
I'll recognize a couple of the songs. And I'm like, oh my God, they had so many bangers,
So
you
many
guys.
hits.
Like you recognize every song. Like even if you didn't like them, they were iconic.
Well, and the
they
other
made
thing, even like
music.
as I was listening back to all of their songs, like some of them you're like, oh wait, but you just like immediately get on board with it. And that's what makes like a perfect pop song. Even if it's the first time you're hearing it, it feels like it's something that is just so like, yeah.
Familiar.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, I know all their songs, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And you don't feel that way about NSYNC?
That's cool.
sure, of course.
Just check in.
Yeah.
Because I feel that way about NSYNC.
Yeah, I feel that way about both of them. I do feel that way about both
yeah,
of them.
because they were both created by the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like the
Yeah.
same time frame where they were both like obviously there was like a natural rivalry between them, which a lot of them are actually friends in real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And I feel like it also kicked off like before that we had kind of boy bands, but not really. It like
Yeah.
really created this. They didn't write the songs themselves. They
Yeah.
were just like these googly icons for girls to go crazy for. And now it's paved the way for like BTS, One
Right.
Direction,
Oh,
all
Harry.
of these boy bands.
do
There
think-
is a model.
And I do think it's amazing that we had Backstreet Boys and NSYNC because then there was 10 guys for us to choose.
Yeah,
and I think that's great.
Which
that we
flavor
were
do you
able
like?
to, yeah.
But you know what? They all kind of got sleepy for a bit. Like we didn't hear from any of them. And much like Friends, they've had like a whole resurgence. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about it when we went to the concert. We're like, oh my God, it was completely sold out. Like
wow.
the tickets weren't crazy. They were like, available to the public. Like it wasn't Taylor Swift, $8,000 a ticket.
It was not.
Yeah, well,
But
that's
it
worth
was like
it.
they
Swifties,
have
where
made
you
a
at?
comeback.
Swifties, where you at?
But it was
in the
cool. And
comments?
I think it's important for us to kind of like have that nostalgia and like think about how far we've come since we were straight in middle school.
We need it.
we need it.
We need it. I think to me, the Backstreet Boys are the best. They were the first. And I think Lou Pearlman did it right when he did it. And he could have just stayed with them and really, they could have taken some dance lessons, sure.
Why not? But they were busy. They were busy
could've
touring.
learned
They
a box
had
step.
the vocals. They had the vocals. And to me, that's, the most important ingredient for a great pop star. And there's nothing quite like hearing 5 men harmonize. Oh boy.
I know. Oh boy.
Oh
I
boy.
agree.
I
It's
have
all
a
about the voice.
question.
Oh boy.
I have one
Yeah.
question. Who do you think One Direction is more inspired by, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
NSYNC.
I agree.
I think the Beatles.
Backstreet Boys because of their harmonies.
Yeah, they can all sing.
Mm.
Like One
Yeah.
Direction was put together from America's Got Talent. so they could all individually sing.
Well, I think NSYNC can. We've let you been saying that all episode, and everyone on NSYNC can sing.
Not-
okay, yes,
not
every-
Let's do
really.
sing, y'all.
Yeah,
Like,
they
well,
can't
Joey,
harmonize
do
the
sing,
same.
y'all.
Let's-
Like they literally do sing.
Let's strip away all the auto tune and all this stuff, and let's really.
She said we're gonna need some
let's
isolated
get those
vocals.
Let's get those
Yeah, we
isolated
need that.
vocals.
Let's actually have you guys decide. Okay,
What do you
let us
think?
know what you think. Do you think it's NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?